So last week on the Facebook Live chat, Dave Donovan asked very nicely if I would do a vlog from the woods. So this is the wood where I also record the Kessel Run when I'm not driving the car, that is. Responsibly driving the car whilst recording the podcast. So I thought today I'd combine the two and do a vlog from the woods and record the Kessel Run at the same time. So here we go. One of the creepiest areas in our woods is this storm drain. Ooh, what's up there? Let's not ask that question. See, this wood you might remember from the early episodes of the vlog, where I would just come over here and record whilst I was walking properly. It was a bit colder back then. It's only just starting to warm up now, and it's the 10th of May or something. This little area in the woods we found was nice and clear. It's not too far from a road, but still pretty safe for the dog to run around. And no one ever comes over here, and she has all this room to play. Right, that's it for the Kessel Run. So what I'll do now is I'll head back and I'll get the audio loaded onto the Mac and start editing it, and I'll video the process of cutting that little sequence of audio together. So I'm back home. I've been back for a while. I'm in my little studio room now. Recorded the podcast on an app called Voice Recorder, which isn't the native app to iOS. It's one that I've downloaded. You can see now in the split screen that I've exported that audio track to my camera roll, and then I send my audio track from the camera roll over to the Mac via AirDrop, which gives me more flexibility. And then you can see here now back in the Mac environment that I have my recording from today. So I'm just going to transform that now. I'm going to encode that into an audio only file, which only takes a second. And there we go. So now I've got my audio file, which will allow me to drop it into GarageBand. So here I am in GarageBand, which is my favorite piece of editing software for audio. Hasn't done me wrong yet. So I'll delete yesterday's episode because I always save over, and I can grab today's episode and just drag it in and drops it on the workflow. I keep the same audio volume. Let's get some volume on this. So you're going to be able to pick up on the audio track as I edit. So this is now my show from today. Now there are a few changes to be made to it, so I'll just get the outro slid into place. So I can now check my sync up from the intro in GarageBand into the new recording that I made this morning.
Good morning, VIPs.
Right, so that I need to resync that. So I'm just going to move that slightly so that this is usually done very, very quickly. So I can just get my Good Morning VIPs in place as the intro starts to wind down. So we'll try that again.
Good morning, VIPs. What a lovely spring morning we've got today. It's my first day off in ages, and it's actually brightened up quite a bit, and it's not too...
Right, so there we go. So I've got my intro the way I want it. The volume levels seem okay. Now I know there's a couple of edits to make in this, so I'm going to need to listen to it through.
You've seen this section of me standing on the hill throwing the ball for the dog. It's very, very
I'm going to reduce the audio there a little bit so that I can hear myself think.
Anyway, let's get on with a proper episode of the Castle Run. So, I put a couple of posts, prepared a couple of posts for today. 3, I think. One almost became an insight, Star Wars Insights, but the problem is I only really write a Star Wars Insight when I'm...
This is weird because I'm actually editing this episode now to go out. I'm also trying to plan for the video of how I make these daily podcasts. So I'm existing across many projects at a time. It's confusing.
Insights, because I've been convinced that that's what the reading is. You know, look at Ray's dream theory.
So I was gonna edit out my little gaff there, but I'll leave it in.
Rogue One, and they made it into Star Wars Insights because there was enough evidence there to support the theory. And one of those theories that made it to a Star Wars Insights was Kylo Ren's lightsaber. One of the earliest, or one of the things. Start that again. So one of the things we cooked up was that perhaps Ben. So one of the things we.
So that's my first obvious edit.
So one of the things we cooked up. One of the earliest, or one of the things.
So there we go. I'll just get rid of that little error.
How that may have played out. So one of the things we cooked up was that perhaps Ben was unruly.
Not as clean as my usual cuts, I must admit.
And eventually how that may have played out. So one of the things we cooked up was that perhaps unruly at the school anyway.
Make that better.
Played out. So one of the things we cooked up was that perhaps Ben was unruly at the school anyway.
That's a bit better.
And eventually the Last Jedi. So that's kind of like my new position on this thing. That
I'll just take out that pause.
Last Jedi. That's kind of like my new position on this thing. That there was clearly that sort of resilience of that weapon played a big part in my Darth Vader crystal theory. We also had in The Force Awakens.
I'll take out that little stumble so it cleans up my.
Played a big part in my Darth Vader crystal theory. We also had in The Force Awakens something about Maz. We also had The Force Awakens, Maz Kanata theory. We also had in The Force Awakens.
So obviously when I was recording I wanted to change that anyway, so we're going to go back and change that again.
About Maz. We also had The Force Awakens, Maz Kanata.
I learned to edit in my head as I go now.
We also had The Force Awakens, Maz Kanata taking the Skywalker lightsaber to Leia. And we saw that in the trailer. Luke's green lightsaber. Now his red lightsaber is ignited at that point, and it has the green lightsaber in the other hand. So why would he have both weapons if the green crystal had been bled? Well, this is part. Let's start that again. So part of my theory is that. Let's start that again.
So I need to go back and find out where I.
In an uncropped shot, an unused uncropped shot from that scene, Kylo is holding Luke's green lightsaber. Now his red lightsaber is ignited at that point, and he has the green lightsaber in the other hand. So why would he have both weapons if the green crystal had been bled? Well, this is part. Let's start that again. So part of my theory is that image was cropped to remove the reference to Luke's holding Luke's green lightsaber. Now his red lightsaber is ignited at that point, and he has the green lightsaber in the other hand. So green lightsaber.
We're going to move that to there and see how that works.
Green light shot, an unused, uncropped shot from that scene. Kylo is holding Luke's green lightsaber. So part of my theory is that image was cropped to remove the reference to Luke's lightsaber, so that they could explain it away as being the bled crystal, the green crystal in Kylo Ren's weapon later on. And MakingStyles.net have said on a number of occasions that they've not seen any indication that Luke has a lightsaber in this new movie, that he has like a little electric shock poker thing to scare off the porgs. And this is just a theory. Perhaps this fragment of a crystal is the fragment that came off of Luke's green crystal as Kylo bled it and cracked it. The whole bleeding of the
I'll get rid of that.
bleeding of the crystals thing.
Don't want to lose too much of that space.
The whole bleeding of the crystals thing came about in Ahsoka Tano, or in the Ahsoka novel featuring Ahsoka Tano, and and in that book, Ahsoka manages to restore, because it came about in Ahsoka Tano, or in the Ahsoka novel featuring Ahsoka Tano, and in that book, Ahsoka manages to restore some previously bled crystals that had been taken by a Sith Inquisitor. She managed to restore them. And I'm starting to believe, even though this hasn't made it into her insights yet, I'm starting to believe that means Luke will take back his crystal, restore it, and he'll have a white bladed lightsaber by the time of episode 9. I should also mention at this point as well, just as we're sort of wrapping up, when there's presence there. I should also mention at this point as well, just as we're...
See how those two bits, these two sections edit together.
Destroyed because he overdid it. I should also mention at this point as well, just as we're sort of wrapping up, that there was a theory in a video that I shared on the Facebook page. I mean, you're building something weak on top of... That's a possibility. I mean, you're building something weak on top of something else that's weak, but it's a possibility. There has to be an explanation for Rey. Oh, that's another thing entirely, though. But it's a possibility. There has to be an explanation for Rey. Took the child and hid her on Jakku.
Try this little edit.
Parents. That's a possibility. There has to be an explanation for Rey.
It works.
That's another thing entirely, though. So, okay, right. Couple of bits of TSW.
Can you get rid of that?
Okay, right. Couple of bits of and the parents. That's a possibility. There has to be an explanation for Rey. Okay, right.
Could probably compact that a little bit. So let's.
Okay, right.
Oof, that's a bit tight. Let's try that.
For Rey. Okay, right.
Yeah, that'll do.
Couple of bits of TSW business before I wrap this one up. Rightio, I'm going to shoot off then. Still planning to do the Call In show on Saturday, so all those that said they're going to be there, superb. The maybes, come on, put your finger out, let's commit. And I will jump on, possibly kick that off with a Facebook Live, where I can share the link to the call, and then we can just start working this thing out together until it has some kind of structure. Alright, have a cracking Tuesday, everybody.
I got the day wrong.
To you guys tomorrow.
Fortunately, I took a take two.
Cracking working this thing out together until it has some kind of structure. Alright, have a cracking Tuesday, everybody. Alright, Okay, have a cracking Wednesday, you guys. Not Tuesday, as I said in the structure. Okay, have a cracking Wednesday.
Get rid of that
Guys,
little
not Tuesday, as I said, until it has some kind of structure. Okay, have a cracking Wednesday, you guys. Not Tuesday, as I said in the original take of this song. And I will speak to you guys tomorrow.
Right, I'm just going to try that now. We're pulling the outro in a little bit further.
Live, where I can share the link to the call, and then we can just start working this thing out together until it has some kind of structure. Okay, have a cracking.
I think I can tidy that up there a little bit. Let's do
okay, have a
that.
cracking Wednesday with some kind of structure. Okay, have a cracking Wednesday, you guys. Not Tuesday, as I said in the original take of this song. And I will speak to you guys tomorrow. Original take of this song. And I will speak to you guys tomorrow.
Right, there we go. One edited podcast. So I'll now share that out. I'll export that. I'll just rename it. So today's the 10th of the 5th, 2017. So that gets saved out as that file. In the meantime, I need to change my art to have the right date. I do a new piece of artwork for the podcast every day, and that gets embedded in the download. So that is done. So I'll shut that document now. That's still writing. They're the show notes for the next episode. Let's get my workspace a little better organized. So I'm going to be loading in the Kessel run, so you can see some of the other projects I've been working on there. The Kessel run is going to be loading into that there, so I'll just check when the MP3 is fully baked. I'll drag it into iTunes and I'll put some metadata on it before I post it to the site. So right, okay, so that's fully written. Drag the audio file in, get info. First thing I'll do is I'll apply the artwork to the MP3. Handy little trick shown to me by my good friend Robert Cast. Then I just need to go in and I need to lay in some of the other details. So Talk Star Wars, it's the Kessel run. I produced it, I hosted it, and that's the date. So that's that MP3 now has a bunch of metadata in it. That's it there. So I can now go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag Safari over and I can put in the data. Now what I've done is, because I'm extraordinarily lazy, I have set up a bunch of shortcuts on my keyboard so that I only have to write a couple of letters, and the phrases I use a lot will get filled out automatically. So just add the artwork to the page post. Which is there. I'll add the audio file now. Load the MP3 into there. That loads up to the site. So that could take a second. So I'll modify some of the parameters of this embed. So I want a nice dark look to the download. I'll show the download link, and then it's got the artist's details in there. And I just need to, once the MP3 is fully loaded, I can put the title in, which I copied from the post header there. Almost there. Right, so there we go. So I add the title now and apply that, write a brief blurb about it. So, hi VIPs, this morning's TSW Kessel Run was a cross over with the vlog. The video should be out today. In the meantime, enjoy this episode where I speculate about Kylo Ren's lightsaber again. Enjoy. So publish that straight away, and that goes up to the feed on the VIP's private feed on Talk Star Wars, which I'll go to now, and I'll grab, so now you can see there's the header, there's the post, so I'll copy the link to the post, and then what I'll do is I'll head over to the Talk Star Wars VIP Facebook group, and I'll post that in as well to the Facebook group so that the VIPs don't have to go looking for it. So that's the episode, a daily podcast episode that's gone out. It's taken me longer to edit today. Obviously, I put a couple of deliberate gaffes in the audio so that I could show the editing process, but it's usually a lot quicker, and I can get one of these done every day. It takes as long as it takes to record. Quick bit of editing, sometimes done in the car when I get to work. I sit in my parking space and just do a couple of little edits and then post that out to the site very, very quickly before I go into work. Okay, right, that's that done then. So all good in a day's work. Nice. Thank you for watching, and if you did want to hear this Kessel Run podcast every day, become a TSW, consider becoming a TSW VIP. You become a VIP by becoming a donor for as little as £1 a month. You get a whole bunch of stuff like this daily podcast is exclusive to the VIPs and priority releases of everything else we do. And there's this private VIP group on Facebook, which is a wonderful community. I think you might enjoy it. Okay, that's it for this week's vlog. I'll see you guys next time. Let's talk about Loot Crate. Are you on a quest for epic gear, housewares and collectibles? Loot Crate offers an epic range of pop culture items for less than $20 per month. Whether you're shopping for the geek in your life or you are that geek, Loot Crate is the best surprise you know is coming. Every month there's a different theme and new and exclusive items that you can only get with Loot Crate. Treat yourself every month or give the gift of geeking out to a friend or a loved one. You have until the 19th at 9 PM Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when the cut-off happens, that's it, it's over. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/TalkStarWars and enter the code TalkStarWars and save $3 off your new subscription today.